This week on the Blue Crew, I am honored to welcome on my dear friend, the editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period, a host and analyst for SiriusXM NHL Radio, and an NHL Insider. But like I said before, more importantly,
hold on,
my close friend. And there's something happening right now behind him.
Wrong. Yeah. We got phone changing hands. It's the wrong stuff. It's perfect. I love it when it's live.
But we're not editing it all. We're keeping it in here. Welcome to the show, David Pagnotta. David, so good to have you. And I should say before Cody jumps in, Cody told me he'd be on about 15 minutes ago, and he's still not here. So we're starting without him, and I'm sure we'll hear from him in a bit.
That's okay. Hey, the great start, the phone interchanging and everything. It's a perfect way to kick this off, right?
Yeah, we don't hide anything here. This is as natural and genuine as it can be. Cody said he's logging in now, but let's go into the topic that everyone's talking about right now, this Jacob Trouba slash to the head on Trent Frederic yesterday.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to preface it in the way that, I was at the game. I didn't see it happen live. No one talked about it after it happened live. It was like right in the beginning of the second period after the Pastrnak goal, I think like 18 minutes to go. Your initial thoughts on seeing that clip and the result of the $5,000 fine?
Well, when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, what's going on there? Like, that's probably not good. Probably don't want to do that. But then, you start to see the replays and you catch some of the other angles. And then it's like, you kind of change your mindset a little bit as we get things going here. So, like, I probably would have gone a little harder than a 5K fine. I know some people are crying for like a 10-game, 25-game. I don't think it was like that. He was holding his stick a little bit. It looked to me like when Trouba actually made contact, he was kind of like, uh-oh, oops, that's not good. So I don't think intent was there in terms of like trying to cut the guy's head off. But you still have to be responsible for your stick. I would have given him a game or two, but whatever.
Cody, before you hopped on, David said the Rangers are going to go after Stamkos. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm sure Avery will love that. What's up?
Yeah,
we're recording. This is live.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Been a night.
All right. Cody, let's get, first of all, Cody, David, Cody. Happy to introduce you guys. But let's get your thoughts, Cody, on the Trouba play. We kind of just got David's opinion on it. I'll share mine after. What was your initial take on it?
On the hit?
On the slash to the head, the baseball bat swing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. I mean, I know he got fined the 5K. I could see both sides. Like, obviously, I'm a little biased, but like, I'm not against him. I'm not against him getting fined on that. Like, it's fine. I think they actually probably deep down got that one right.
You think they got it right?
I mean,
You said biases aside, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, to fine him, I'm saying to fine him.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my thought. It's very inconsistent right now with the fines, the suspensions, and all that. Like last year, Keandre Miller got 4 games for accidentally spitting on Drew Doughty. Like, I think that's a little bit much. Like Jacob Trouba, say what you want about the play. He hits Frederic in the head with his stick. Like, accidental or not, you got to control your stick as a hockey player. Like, that's like the number one thing.
Yeah.
Do I think it was on purpose? No. I tweeted it last night. I've tried to whack guys in the back of the leg like that 1,000 times in my life. And sometimes when you do have a hand on you, it's, your stick's going to come up. But again, that's Trouba's responsibility to make sure it doesn't come up. I wouldn't be surprised if they suspended him 5 games. I think the $5,000 fine was very kind of the player safety to give him that. I really thought it would be 1 game after I saw it. But again, there was no comment from Frederic. No comment from the Bruins. They could have reviewed that after it happened, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Johnny, that's what I was saying they got right. I was saying they got right by fining him.
As opposed to doing nothing?
Would you have so you wouldn't suspend him? You wouldn't give him like a game or 2?
No, I think they can give him a game and it's fine. I mean, 5 games is crazy. I don't know why you're laughing at me.
Because you crack me up. I love you, dude.
I think 5 games would be crazy. I mean, there's been crazier things to happen in the league, and the biggest thing is the refs are so inconsistent this year across the board. I mean, I think I don't have there been any other instances where guys have gotten suspended so far? There was one, right? There was one player got suspended a couple.
Charlie McAvoy 4 games
right.
on Albrecht and Larson.
Right. So I mean,
there've been a couple like Arthur Kaliev got suspended 2 preseason games and 2 regular season games.
Yeah.
For what?
At the start of the season, I don't remember what it was for, but I think he got the rest. He got 2 preseason and 2 regular season games for the Kings. I don't remember what he did.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened yesterday, but like I think with this one, because I agree with you. You have to be responsible for your stick. I mentioned it before. So a 1-2 gamer is like, okay, we got to give you something here. We know it's not on purpose, but you have to be responsible for it. We can't just let everybody get away with it. Instead, they went the slap on the wrist with the 5K. So, okay, he doesn't get dinner tonight. Big deal.
Right.
He probably will still get dinner. A pretty good one.
Well, yeah. Fair.
Yeah. But they're still going to review it though. No, like, aren't they still going to review it?
It's done.
It's done. It's cooked.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then biased. I mean, they probably got it wrong. They should have suspended him like 2 games. Yeah. I just woke up. Rough night, boys.
You're good.
Just to give the listeners the setting, it's 2:00 on Sunday.
Yeah, dude, I was up from 2 to 5 a.m. It was
You're a legend.
crazy.
Legend.
Yeah, changing diapers and all the.
He's a new dad, David.
Oh, okay, there you go. Oh, I thought you were like painting the town a little bit. No, you couldn't sleep. Okay, I got you.
I heard people painting the town from outside though while I was changing those diapers. So
you certainly worded it that way, as if you had the best night ever last night.
The worst night ever. Like night could not have been worse. Hopefully a good night tonight though. So Dave, I know we just met, but
yep.
I don't know what Johnny's asked you so far. And
just the Trouba thing
could have been too much.
Just the Trouba. Yeah.
But I did want to start and just, I've been following you for a little bit. Love your stuff. What's your favorite part about your job, and how'd you really get into hockey? And how to become kind of your choice of passion?
Well, I always loved the sport. From like day one. I grew up in Montreal. Was born there, but I wasn't really allowed to play hockey. Italian family and whatnot, and they're like, yeah, you're not playing football, you're not playing hockey, go play soccer, and that's it. All my buddies played hockey, so for me it was my passion. I ended up playing baseball, got away from soccer,
same,
and was really good at that. And then the whole cliche, you got injured and that's the end of that. So that's kind of what happened to me. But all my boys played hockey. A couple guys are still playing right now. And that's kind of how I got into it. I started the 4th period as an escape to get away from ball a little bit, because that was a bit of a tough little stretch for me. And then it just kept growing. My buddies would tell me what's going on with their teams. I'd be calling teams up and asking for interview requests and things like that. And the deep voice helped when you're like 18 and whatnot. And they're leaving messages on my answering machine. My mom's on the answering machine and whatnot. And they're like, I talked to you. I left a message with your wife. I was like, don't ever say that, please. And call guys back in, interview, started covering a few things like the NHL Awards, Team Canada's camp. Because when I moved to Toronto, they were practicing. Team Canada would always have their juniors camp at York University, which was close to me. So just kind of rolled into it that way and just backdoored it and was like, screw this. I'm getting in. I love this sport. I'm just going to push my way through.
I actually want to follow up on that question, Cody, if I may.
Yeah, you may. I was just going to ask. I also have a really good buddy who's got. He's pretty slick with words. He's like not the smartest, but he's looking for a job. Like, would you consider hiring him?
Well, that's a top-notch recommendation right there.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's
Johnny.
We can
talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that kid. All right. Yeah.
Well,
I've seen some of his work.
What I was going to say, David, do you remember like your first news that you broke?
Yeah, actually. One of the first, I don't know, it wasn't the first one that we really broke, but at the time, I think it was the Rangers, I believe. This was like early 2004 or something like that.
Oh, how'd you even break news then? Like pre-Twitter? How'd that even work?
We had it up on the site and what? Yeah. MSN Messenger. Yeah. And we had it up on the site, and the Rangers were supposed to sign Tony Amonte. And I think it was Tony Amonte, if I remember correctly. And then they were trying to trade Peter Nedved at the time. There was this whole thing. We pissed the team off, and they were upset that the information got leaked, Amonte's side. And then I mean, like news outlets in New York and television stations were picking this up. It was a whole overnight thing. And then it didn't end up happening, but then so I got kind of shit on for that.
So you didn't break news.
but then Amante signed with Arizona and I managed to pull that one off. So that was kind of like the first where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm getting too in deep in this or if I'm cut out for this kind of stuff or whatnot. And then as fourth period grew, we were doing a lot on the lifestyle angle and the lifestyle side. That's where we started the magazine, which is all lifestyle driven and just getting to know these guys, take the helmets off, highlight them. And we started throwing events. We do a gifting suite for the players every All-Star weekend and every NHL awards. We throw player parties at those events, all kinds of different things. And that's kind of how, between my buddies that would introduce me to their teammates and whatnot and just build relationships that way, I started to get more and more kind of information and sources and things like that would then dive into team contacts and management guys and agents and everybody.
Yeah.
And that just kind of led to more and more information kind of coming about. And then we just kind of kept rolling in that regard. I think one of the other ones was the Islanders when they axed, they had their whole change when they brought in, new coach, new GM, Neil Smith, and like that whole situation. We were first ones to put that out. And that lasted like a week and then they changed that up. But yeah, just like small little things like that. And then just stuff kind of just, trickling in and just kind of growing from there and building up those relationships. And, with this kind of stuff, it's all about trust and you break it once, game over.
So to add a little bit further into that, like I've seen the trade deadline many times, obviously from, the fan side and perspective, but I'd love if you can talk me through the chaos of, what does trade deadline day look like from the reporting side? And can you speak a little bit to, not only how it goes with getting your scoops, but like, what's it like and the exhilarating thrill of the race to being the first one to try and break the news?
Yeah. I mean, being first is cool and that's great.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure you get it right.
Yeah.
Like if you're not first and whatever, and there's this, you look at it after the fact, you look at all your mentions and whatnot, and you're like, well, that guy was first. You get comments, well, you were last or you were second or this guy was first. And this, I'm not scouring Twitter and like these other guys aren't on Twitter trying to make sure that we're first. We don't care. You just want to make sure the information is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That fair. Some people care. Most guys don't. And it's really about just getting that info right.
Yeah.
The caring thing is at that time of year, like with free agency and with trade deadline, you still want to, it's great to be first, but you want to make sure stuff's right. Like sometimes you get information that you sit on for like 2-3 days. A guy is getting traded. They've agreed to the parameters of a deal, but it just takes, for whatever reason, is it cap related? Is it even moving related? Like the off headline, off ice kind of material that needs to happen. So you just kind of hold on it, wait, and then you hope that nobody else finds out. And then you kind of put that out and, go from there. Sometimes it's the morning of and you can't put something out until the evening. So for trade deadline, it's wild. It's changed for me in the last few years because I do on air with NHL Network.
Yeah.
So I've got a camera like this live in my face for whatever, like 9 hours as I'm on the phone and doing all kinds of things. You're getting text messages from other like players around the league asking what the hell's going on with my team, or have you heard anything with this guy, or is my buddy getting traded on another team? So you're kind of deciphering that stuff with the actual information that you're getting. And it's a lot. It can be stressful. It can be a lot because, again, you want to make sure that information is correct. So, you get a tip that says, well, this team is making a trade. All right, cool. Well, now we have to dive into it to find out exactly what that info is.
What I've gathered from all of that is that where Patrick Kane's going. You haven't said it yet.
I wish. Honestly, I wish. They've done a hell of a job at keeping that one quiet in terms of where he's going. Is it Florida? Is it Detroit? Is it Dallas? I'm leaning on the Dallas side, and this is just like a gut that's kind of suggesting to me that it's going to be there. But Florida's straight in the mix. Detroit, The Islanders were poking again. I don't know if that's going to I don't think that's going to happen, but
yeah. And to what you were saying before, I mean, has there been a time where you've had a super juicy scoop and just couldn't share it, and then somebody beat you to it, and you were just like, God damn it.
Yeah, like honestly, probably 75% of the stuff that I find out, I can't report.
You told me about Quickie last year in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff like he was going to New York, so we knew, like, certain things are going there. You can't really report them at certain times because it's not July 1st yet for free agent. Like we had Quickie, we had Ryan Reeves at Toronto, Carson Soucy with Van. There were a few others that we had to kind of keep quiet because there's no talking period. So obviously nobody ever kind of breaks that rule. So we want to make sure we don't get other people in trouble too.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of, it's you get a lot of information and you try to hold it as long as you can for stuff that you're allowed to kind of put out. Like, we hear about injuries all the time. We hear about, internal drama with teams. We hear about, like one guy had a meeting with a coach and it didn't go well and I want out of there or stuff like that. And then things kind of cool down and everybody's like level headed again. So you hear about all that kind of stuff, buddies of mine that call or will have like a, heart to heart conversation, try to, calm them down a little bit. Just, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing your thing. Like there's all this kind of stuff that I could report.
Yeah.
And then I'll just blow up my friendships and my relationships and that'll be the end of it. So you have to make sure you find that right line and you can't cross it or else it's over. And if somebody beats you to it and it's something juicy and you're holding it on for a few hours or a couple days, whatever, so be it.
Yeah.
I want to pivot back into the Rangers just a little bit, unless Cody, you had a fifth.
No, but I have a really good question for you next. So I'll let Jonny go first.
I can go this time though?
Yeah, his is probably terrible, but it's fine.
Okay, cool. So yesterday's win,
a
lot of the players in the locker room after the game weren't saying it was some big statement win. It's just, kind of them proving to themselves that they know what they're capable of, as opposed to, the focus being on the opponent. But 15-3-1, best team in the NHL right now, 31 points. Do the Rangers own the right to call themselves the beast of the East right now? Where do you see them as far as the Eastern Conference shakes up, not the entire league?
Yeah, I think they're right there. I mean, it was a statement game. And not just against the Bruins. It was a statement game against the rest of the East. Mm-hmm. Like we took care of these guys pretty decently. And Jonathan Quick was in that. Like that's for me, that's the most impressive thing, how they performed with Quickie in that. And this is not a knock on him. It's just obviously Igor Shesterkin's a hell of a lot better right now at this stage of Quick's career. So for him to hold his own, that's huge because that's a confidence booster for him and the rest of your group, knowing that he can go in net and play well. And you don't have to worry about him. You don't have to kind of back him up 24/7 when the puck's in your own zone or the opposition's, kind of infiltrating your zone. And at the same time, you took care of the Boston Bruins pretty handsomely. Mm-hmm. So that for me was really impressive. I was on the fence at the start of the season. I'm like, is it going to be Rangers or Devils that are going to take this division?
Mm-hmm. No Canes.
No, I'm not.
Really?
I'm not buying the Kane situation, and how they're performing. I mean, they're hanging in. They're doing okay.
I'm with you on that.
I don't buy. Yeah, I don't buy the longevity of success for the Canes this season being a Cup finalist. I know some people have picked them to either win or be, the runners up there, but I don't like their overall depth, and I'm not a big fan of their goaltending in terms of, statement games and things like that. So I had Rangers or Devils. I went the Devils route, sorry, but
most people did.
And it's changing. I mean, they're changing my mind right now. Now, great, like the Devils have been hurt and they're finally healthy again, and Nico's back in, Hughes is back in, and obviously they had a hell of a game last night, but the way the Rangers are performing, the depth that they're bringing to the table, 1 through 4, the deep pairing's been solid and goaltending sound. I think right now, just they're the beast. And Panarin is just carrying the load offensively right now. He keeps this going. You're gonna be hearing some MVP discussions with that guy.
Well, that's what I was going to say next. Is Panarin in the discussion for the Hart race? Because I know right now, obviously, Vancouver is getting a ton of production from those 3 guys. I mean, Quinn Hughes right now has a case to be the MVP and the Norris Trophy winner. But also, to that point, Peter Laviolette in his first year behind the bench. Like, I got to imagine he's the Jack Adams, front runner right now.
Montgomery is for me.
Really? You think back to back?
And it's only happened once. I think it was in the 70s, where we've had back-to-back Jack Adams winners. The reason for me it's Montgomery right now still, everybody expected the Bruins to take a huge fallback. Like no Bergeron, no Krejci. A couple other changes were made. They brought in some complementary pieces and kind of bargain deals like JVR on $1 million and stuff like that. And for them to continue to play this well without your top two centermen and then having to slot those guys in, the structure and the system of that team, I have him right now as number one on the list for me in terms of Jack Adams. But Laviolette's right there too, with what he's implemented to this group. And look, this team, talking to a few of these guys, especially in the summer, like that chip on their shoulder after that Devils loss is huge.
Yeah.
And it's still there. And that is great motivation for any professional athlete, but for this group, that's for the most part still intact from last season, to have that and to be like, well, I like their messaging. It wasn't a statement game. We want to do this for us. We believe in ourselves. We feel we have another level to hit. That's dangerous if you're, an opponent looking at this group going, okay, there's a lot more in the cupboard here with this group. And Panarin kind of carrying that load offensively, he's going to keep getting better this year.
I mean, Keandre Miller had the best quote yesterday in the postgame. He said, "We're not even playing our best hockey right now," which is scary and fun to say at the same time.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, because it's genuine, and the best part about that I've noticed over the years with top echelon teams, they are having fun when they're winning, and it's contagious. You want to keep that going. To have that pulled off already, that message already in like the first, was it 19 games, 20 games, whatever they've played?
Yeah.
That's a really, really good sign if you're a Ranger fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Cody, your turn. Ask your best question.
Okay. So there's been a lot of swirling around the rumor mill that McDavid is growing impatient and unhappy with the situation in Edmonton, based on, how they've started this season. And obviously they have not won a cup since he's been there. So, one, is there any truth to that you've heard about? And two, what do you think it would take a GM to actually pull off, a trade like that? And obviously, selfishly, I have to ask specifically, what do you think it would cost Chris Drury to complete a blockbuster move like that?
It's never happening.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, well, he's obviously, yes, he's frustrated. There's no question. Everybody in that room is frustrated. Everybody in that building is frustrated. They're not going to trade him.
Yeah.
Not now. It would take, I don't even know. I'd have to look at the roster and it would be something that every fan would go, not a chance, never going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's not enough. Like, you're not trading Capo Caco as your main piece to get, McDavid. So it's going to take a hell of a big, just a stupid return for the Oilers to even consider it. The guy I look at on this team that I question the most about his longevity in Edmonton is Leon Draisaitl. Couple years left. He's got a no trade as part of his no movement clause. Some nights he looks like he does not give one crap what's going on out there. The frustration for him is it's huge.
Yeah.
But those guys, they're frustrated, and they should be frustrated. They should be pissed off because you have the two best players, arguably the two best players in the world, and you can't find the right mix to gel with this group. You're bargain hunting, and all due respect to these guys, but you're bargain hunting and you're hoping that Connor Brown is going to be the guy that's going to score 30 goals for this team. No.
RNH too. I mean, he's been popping off. He had a great year last year.
Yeah, over 100 points, first time in his career. And I mean, he's frustrated too. Like, all of these guys, the problem is
I'm frustrated. I bet on them
outside. Like, I want this team to do well. I want to see these guys doing well. Yeah. But when you mismanage your cap and you give, I didn't think Jack Campbell was going to fall off the way he did. I didn't think he was going to be that great, but I didn't think he was going to fall off like this. You give him $4.5 million. You give Darnell Nurse 9.25. You're handcuffing yourself, and then you give everybody and their dog in the top 6 a no movement clause. Like, you limit your ability to make moves. I understand there's, some discussion that everybody other than McDavid and Draisaitl are available. Well, that's cool. You think Evander Kane wants to go to, wherever, some bottom feeder team, or, Nuge wants to go to whatever. That doesn't matter. Like, they're handcuffed in what they're capable of doing. I don't think Kenny Holland will be back as general manager of this club next season. Depending on how they perform will ultimately dictate what they end up doing. There's already reports now of looking at different GMs and stuff like that. That's kind of been the process from the start of the season in terms of next steps for this group once they brought in Jeff Jackson as president. But no, McDavid's not going anywhere yet, but they need to fix this mess. And like, this team needs to get to 500 by the end of the calendar year. And that's like, they have to go, I think, 9,
they have to
2 and something. Like, I don't see this team suddenly just changing course and getting that hot at this stage. But it's a hell of a tough hill to climb right now. When you dig yourself a hole, like ask the Canucks, the last 2 years, they started off horribly. They finished the season strong, but you couldn't dig yourself out of that hole. That's what the Oilers are finding themselves in right now.
What a stupid fucking question, Cody.
That question rocked, dude.
Well, so
I get it. Like, but you want me to pull up? Hold on, let me pull up the roster, and I'll just give you a quick idea of, without looking at numbers or any of that crap.
That's David's way of just saying it's going to happen, but I just can't tell you yet.
Let's see.
He's
Let's
got to
see.
sit on it for a few months.
Roster-wise. Okay, you're looking at. Man, I don't even know how you're going to pull this off. It probably starts with Panarin, so automatically fans are going to lose it and say no.
Yeah.
If you want to package it up, Fox, you're probably looking at, no. People are going to lose it right there. You're looking at like Fox and Lafreniere plus in terms of a larger deal, and that's not going to happen. If I'm the Oilers, why would I do anything less?
Yeah, no reason to.
Yep.
But you mentioned his name, and kind of speaking of handcuffed, we do listener questions every week, and I'm actually gonna take 1 or 2 at the end to ask you from listeners.
Yeah.
But literally every week, it's what are the Rangers gonna do if Kaapo Kakko doesn't start producing? Can they trade him? So who better to ask than you if Kaapo Kakko is
literally stole my next question.
That's your question.
I sent Jonny my questions, and he fucking copied that class
about trading him.
It's fine.
No, go.
No. I'm kidding.
Well, you're right. I
know I'm right, but just go.
Go.
No.
I don't want it.
All right.
You know what? Fuck it. I don't want to answer.
We have the same exact question. It's literally just, if Kakko does not pick it up, could he be a shiny toy for other GMs come the trade deadline? And, what could the return look like on someone like that? Obviously, he has a lot of talent. He had a decent year last year. Hasn't lived up to expectations yet. This was supposed to be a breakout year, and obviously he's in a pretty horrible slump. And
it's getting bad.
It's getting bad. He's off to a rough start. So, would they have to sell low on him if they were to look, or what could that look like?
Yeah, 2 goals, 1 assist in 19 games. Ouch.
Yeah.
But look, there's a couple ways of looking at this. One, personally, if it were me, if I'm Drury, I'm looking at an offseason move, not midseason. Because if you're moving Kakko, it's probably a pretty significant type of deal, even though he's not been good this year. And the reason I look towards the offseason versus now is with how well this team is doing, you don't want to disrupt too much of the mojo and the flow of what's going on with this group. Like, you have to bring in the right pieces. And with how well this team's performing, for me, I'm almost better off benching the kid for the rest of the season.
Really?
Versus trying to trade him, make an impulse type move, and you kind of screw up the flow of your team. Because the way this team is built right now and the way that they're playing, this is top 4 minimum.
Yeah.
In the NHL. Like, you're looking at an Eastern Conference final appearance at worst. So
my man.
Do I want to screw that up by potentially making a big move and it just doesn't click? Or do I want to wait till the summer where there's more flexibility cap wise, You can potentially make a different type of move to augment the roster a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be a little more impactful. Like if I'm looking at that, if I'm the Rangers, that's my biggest thing. Like I'm here in LA right now, and I was at the game last night or yesterday afternoon against the Habs, and just looking at this LA Kings team.
They're sick.
They're
top to bottom, decor, all three. I don't even know if I want to screw up this team. Like it's a very, very similar situation.
Yeah.
And would I be shocked to see the 10-year Cup reunion between the Kings and Rangers right now? I wouldn't.
We need to take care of business this time.
Both of these teams maybe win more than a game.
Yeah.
Both of these
I was
teams.
at that game.
Yeah.
It's miserable.
That was the 1-0 one, right?
Yeah. And we were down 3-0, and I remember like having a fit to my dad being like, I'm not fucking going.
I was here in LA, and I was like, oh man, the Kings are going to win this one, and the Rangers are going to win game 4. Our travel schedule is going to be brutal. One of first world problems. But like for both of these clubs, honestly, like I don't know if I want to make a big type of move right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to disrupt what's going on. If I'm the Rangers and it's Kakko and he's not playing well, and I'd rather have somebody slot into the fourth line to provide a little more energy, I would almost rather do that right now and just have him sit.
That's why fans are the best. Rangers are in first place in the NHL, and every question every week: who should we trade for?
Tarasenko back. Yeah, I know. So sorry, John. Just last thing is to follow up on that, right? So the Rangers are getting 2 big acquisitions back in essentially in Fox and Hedl, which are huge, who they haven't had for some weeks now. But given the deadline is eventually going to come, and I agree with you. I don't think they need to make a big type of move. Also, they have no cap. I mean, they're going to have maybe $3 million at the deadline tops. So, what kind of move would you make, like in terms of depth, to put them over the top and get them to the Cup?
Well, and I'm just pulling up their roster right now so I can see their depth charts and how much cap space they, kind of have.
I'm saying the Rangers are totally out on Kane, right? There's no.
Yeah, it's not happening.
There's no way. There's no way.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this club, and even that, like with how they're playing, like that's what I'm like to bring in somebody. Where are you putting them?
Yep.
Right.
Like I get that Wheeler's they're trying to get him going a little bit, and maybe that's
where you're putting him.
Maybe, but like I'm looking at this group and I'm going, okay, maybe I want a little more energy for my fourth line. Maybe I want somebody that is. But he has to contribute. Like, I just don't want a goon to come out here and just, that's it. Like, nowadays, that role has changed and it started to evolve. You've got to be able to keep up. Whether you're playing D on the third pair or you're on the fourth line, you've got to have some kind of asset that you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
Like, you may be better defensively and you can drop the mitts. But there's got to be some key here. It's not just about going out there and, just beating the shit out of the opposition all the time. Like, you can't do that. Like, I'm in LA right now, so I'm going to use this as a reference, but Andreas Englund, third pair D, strong shutdown defenseman, and just beats the crap out of the other guys. Like when they're dropping the mitts, like he's just always on the attack.
Yeah,
and you play with a different type of confidence there when you've got that. If you have that type of player, and looking at this group, probably for the fourth line for me on the right side, maybe you sub out Pitlick. That's what I would be looking for. Like now that Lafreniere's woken up and is starting to roll a little bit, and his confidence will continue to emerge. If anything, if you're looking at top 6, maybe on that right side. But again, Hedl comes back, and it changes things a little bit for this group. I don't know if I want to make a big impact type move and mess the mojo and the flow of this group, unless something just totally falls into my lap. But it's got to work financially, and if it doesn't work financially, that means you got to make a bolder type move, and that might screw up the chemistry in the room.
Yeah, people actually want to see Hedl jump up and take Wheeler's spot on that first line with Mika and Kreider. I've seen a lot of people say, try Hedl on the wing. Why not?
Yeah, and look, you've got that the luxury right now of being, where you're at in the standings. You can pull that off for a few games.
Yeah.
Like see if it works.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, no, me either. And that's something too, like the Wheeler experiment has been, it was slow at the start, but it's gotten a little bit better. He was the protagonist, I thought, in the Philly game on Friday. Had a solid showing at home against Boston. Right now the Rangers top to bottom are as strong as anyone without Fox on Hedl, which is huge. And obviously Igor, had that day-to-day stuff. But I don't know if you caught wind of it, and I said it as a joke before, but last week our other co-host who can't be here today, Avery Zaretsky,
it's not important.
Mentioned what?
Nothing.
Oh, you said not important.
Yeah.
He mentioned like Steven Stamkos because the Rangers were tied to him, like 10 years ago, and about a deal that like was done but didn't go fully through. And Jake Zaretsky wrote in, "What are the chances of Stamkos going to New York this season?" 0.
Yeah.
Can you just say though, like you're hearing that Stamkos has some interest, just so we can clip it?
Sure, perfect. And then that'll just run the whole, and then that'll be up. Then I can't go to Tampa anymore.
Just that 3-second clip.
He's gonna get a text.
No, like they're gonna figure that out in the offseason and worry about that later on. I think it was a little awkward at the start of the season because they weren't really relaying that message to him, but I think they're gonna figure that out in Tampa. But I mean, if I'm Tampa right now, the way I'm playing, why the hell would you even consider that?
Yeah. No chance.
Yeah. Sorry, but no.
No, you're good. That's just what we do, That's what Ranger fans are. We look for that, older, past their prime star that can come in and not do well for us. That's what we love.
Exactly.
But did nobody learn from the Tarasenko situation? Like
people
even Kane?
I like
Tara. I didn't mind Tara.
Yeah.
Tara. Yeah.
Tara?
Senko.
I don't think anyone's
Tara Senko. No, I didn't mind him.
The hell, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Just call him Vlad.
He always
he
calls
like names.
Mika like Ziba.
No, first of all, it's Zibby, and a lot of people call him Zibby.
Cody just makes shit up.
Yeah, why not?
All right, well that's all I've got. Cody, you got anything to wrap it up?
My only other question is, who is your prediction right now at this stage in the season? Biggest name that's traded on deadline day or leading up to deadline day.
I'm going Elias Lindholm.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I thought too.
I mean, half the Flames, but also Elias Lindholm. Well, I don't know if they could afford. I mean, it depends. It depends how they kind of make that work financially. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Bruins they asked about him in the summer, so I could definitely see them kind of circling back. It was that, then the Wheeler thing, and then all of a sudden, sorry, not Wheeler, Scheifele, and then all of a sudden Scheifele ends up signing and pissing everybody off.
They ruined the deadline this year. Those two.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. But probably, I think, because I don't think Calgary's like they're in that mix, but and they've woken up a little bit, or at least got their heads out of their asses. But I don't know if I don't think they got enough in the tank. So I probably the bigger name would be him, because for whatever reason they don't want to give him $9 million. So. Yeah, trade him. Hanifin, see ya. Tanev probably gone. Who's the other guy? Zadorov obviously asked for the deal. But I think there's going to be a lot of movement out of Calgary. He'd probably be right now the biggest name off the top of my head. Yeah, most likely him.
Were there rumors before the season that Pettersson was going to be on the move, or did I just make that up?
No, I think people were trying to connect dots. Like he hasn't signed his extension yet, so he obviously wants out, or they obviously want to trade him. And then it was, when he kind of revealed that he decided to put negotiations on the back burner, and then somebody with the Canucks organization, I don't remember if it was Alvin or Rutherford or even Francesco, who's Aquilini, one of the owners. Somebody was saying, like, we want to make sure that he wants to be here long-term. And if he doesn't want to be here long-term, then we've got a decision to make. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like that. So that kind of got blown a little out of proportion. But look, the way he's playing now, if he pops another 100-point season, $12 million AAV.
He's nasty.
So I like that's going to be a big pill. That's like he's taking home a big bag after that one. So Canucks got to make a decision there long term. He's an RFA, so that they don't have to panic like Toronto's going to panic with Nylander. But yeah, that's going to be a fun situation.
All right, David. Well, before we let you go, do you have anything you want to plug? Any New York trips coming up?
Actually, yeah, a couple weeks. We're going to Dennis Bernstein and I are heading to Boston. First week of December for U.S. Hall of Fame inductions. One of our really good friends, Dustin Brown, got inducted this year, so we're going to head over there. And then after that, New York for the weekend. So hit you guys up. We'll be bouncing around a few spots.
Gonna rip somewhere nowhere.
bring the somewhere. Absolutely.
A good spot. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great one. I usually stay at the Renaissance there. Easy little stumble my way back to the room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that'll be good. We have our hot stove program on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern. We've been bouncing around different spots and different locations. We'll be doing that later on in the season as well. Our video content on the fourth period will be picking up again pretty soon with some cool segments. We pushed it off because we didn't want to unveil a few things too early, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Cody, you got anything final to say, or you're on mute? You're muted.
Jonny put me on child block. I just said great having you, man, and great meeting you. I appreciate it.
Likewise, buddy. Thank you. Congrats on not sleeping anymore because of the kid.
Thank you. Can't wait. Yeah, it's been a great 2 months.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
There you go. Thanks, boys.